Uh, just a little thought of something that occurred to me, and I wanted to put somewhere, and I'm gonna leave it here. And also, I realized I kept saying conservatism instead of conservatism way too many times. Before I realized it, it was too late. But my mind was already scrambled enough trying to articulate the ideas as I was. So yeah. Warning. This video might trigger like everybody with a mindset of like less than 14 years old. Hello, I'm ToniLarios. Welcome to my channel. I need to make a quick disclaimer first before I start because I realized that it might not be really clear because the term liberal is more widespread. Let's say in South America, for example, a liberal can be understood as somebody with a very nationalistic, patriotic stance that fights against fascism and Marxism or communism. Pretty much the opposite of what the quote unquote left wing is in the rest of the world, which in generalistic simplification. Enjoy the ASMR, by the way. I decided to record this in the street. Anyways, in a generalized simplification, stands for a very Marxist, socialist culture where everything goes. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, in a couple of generations, everybody's going to be, well, it is trying to make everybody be pretty much faceless and thoughtless, equal, but in this very Orwellian, pure communist kind of way. That is why the deconstruction of the human being in general is so important right now, because you have to destroy everything and make everything has no meaning or no shape or form, because at the end of the day, if you don't value anything anymore, you can just change it for whatever it is that anybody offers. You can give away easily anything that you have because it won't matter, and you can accept anything that they give you again because it won't matter. Still, when anybody right now in most of the world says left, modern, lefty, liberal, everybody kind of understands the character, more or less. In short words, the terminology has a very wide meaning there. So yeah, okay, moving on. So anybody with a pair of eyes, ears, and half of a functioning brain can agree with me that more and more these days, you can't literally turn around anywhere on the street, job, school, movie theater, shopping mall, government building, and not to mention any kind of internet site you can access without mediate bombardment of propaganda from what is supposedly the underdog side of the political and social spectrum, the vulnerable and underpowered, victimized side that is argued to be a group that can't even sneeze without falling to oppression and all sorts of persecution, even though they are supported by a segment of people who are the ones with the complete grip of media, politics, education, economy, and every aspect you can imagine that can influence control over the life of anybody in Western civilization. Your life, your economy, your thoughts, your identity, and soon your very DNA are steadily under aggressive siege that is allowed to progress almost solely by the left wing, enabling all of this to even happen at all. Because all of the left liberal spectrum of culture stands for evil and degeneration of humanity. Right? Right? Well, the easy answer is yes. But the fun answer is no. It all starts with the definition of what the so-called left even stands for. And roughly the main idea is liberalism and progression. The opposite of right wing. Being conservative under the idea basically of what the old saying says. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. While liberalism basically says, if it ain't broke, I can still do something new with it. It's all fine and dandy until you turn around and find upon yourself the jump scare of the strange, distorted creature that is the common contemporary lefty. A weaponized political zealot, incapable of critical thought or unbiased opinions. A reactionary being, expert on repeating speeches without one of its own. A shell of an intellectual. The thing is, that is not what a true liberal is. If we ever even manage to survive the raid of the common contemporary lefty, we escape the digital transmutation cage. We step up and tear down this veil and find a true progress and an actual future in which we can be free, healthy, and balanced. We will find our past as a priceless lesson in humility. It's very easy to stand up in arms against those who oppose the points of view that you have, but it's way more interesting to put yourself in the shoes of others. Something like that is one of the most difficult things a person can do because it requires a lack of vanity plus a level of humility that and empathy really rare to see in current culture, but it's the simplest solution to get rid of this parasite plaguing most of the world today. Wait a minute. Aren't you talking about reconciliation or something like that? Isn't your video like trying to redeem lefties? Why are you calling them a play then? Yeah, I hear you. It's true. I am and I am. Because also, if people want to like obsess about categorizing people, including me, I guess you could say that I am a liberal. I mean, just look at my fucking sprite. Look at my channel. God damn it. Look at my avatar. Anyways, a little factor people, regardless of their beliefs, tend to forget is that rulers need an ever-evolving system to establish dominion over you. Throughout history, it's always been the same scheme, but always evolving in sophistication and aesthetic in order to give the illusion of progress. Because you can't have a regime for too long before sooner than later people, as the smart monkeys that we are, see through it, get fed up with it and rise against it in the moment we feel stagnant. Our survival instincts pushes us to find a progression in our environment, in life, while keeping the security we have already achieved. And there's the key right there. There's where you find conservatism and liberalism. And well, in order not to make this video an hour and a half, I hope so, because the more I'm elaborating this video, the more I'm finding more and more and more and more things to say, and I was trying to avoid that, and that just might get exhausting to sit through, especially in my tiny ass channel where people barely stay for a minute, if they even watch at all. But that's a whole other story. That doesn't matter. I wanted to say this. Trust me, I wanted to say this, and it doesn't matter. Nothing matters right now. Just fucking listen. Current liberalism is an illusion of liberalism. Conservatives do need liberals in order to advance. Yes, that's true. But liberals need conservatives in order to survive. Say whatever you want to fucking say, argue with me, fight me. Roll around in your cold, rotten grave if you want, all you want. But without one, there's not the other. Without liberals, there's no progress. And that notion is the current weapon in today's scheme to domain the masses. It's in cases too difficult for the common people to distinguish these things, and therefore the fall for the traps. We actually do need equality, inclusion, and the mindset that breaks the box of old. We do need revolutionized ideas of restructuring the balance of society once in a while. And the ones that are happening right now are actually the ones that we needed as a species for a couple of centuries now. I mean, it's absolutely true what the saying says. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But the most common mistake conservative people tend to make is that different is bad. And nowadays, that is the way liberalism is used as a weapon to give you and liberals themselves the illusion of progress by superficially giving the idea of progress, but maintaining and reinforcing the same old stale rules of control, making it even more aggressive than ever. Example: free speech was forbidden before because it challenged conservative postures. Okay, yeah, true. But why free speech is forbidden now? Because it evidences the postures of the new false liberals. And that is also true. More specifically to this, people are ruled by the notion of God, faith, and the promise of social stability, security. Now, let's go to before. God was religion. You can't see God, but God watches you. He's vigilant of your behavior and will punish you for disobeying, and will save you if you surrender to Him, and promises a better life in His realm. God has enforcers that survey your behavior and hoard you. Priests, pastors, rabbis, politicians, leaders, gurus, blah blah blah, whatever. Your dad, whatever. God's enforcers are not to be questioned because they are sacred, because they wield God's word in God's book, and challenging them means challenging God, therefore, punishment. God's punishment is the main pillar of God's rule, making fear its fuel and oblivion its consequence. Okay, yeah, that was before, and thanks to the new wave of modern liberalism, we finally moved from that, and yeah, we crushed that, didn't we? Right? Yeah, yeah, right? Yeah, right? We we moved from that. Yeah, we're better than that now. Right? Right? Liberalism managed to make religion a shadow of a former self. Society doesn't work under religion's guidance anymore, right? We made it. Modern liberalism has made us free. It was about time. Bye bye, God. We have new standards now. We don't need you. We figured it out. We have science now. We have technology. Yeah. Yeah, fuck you, man. We're better than you. We don't need you. Here, you want proof? You want evidence? Let me put science here instead of your religion. We're better than you. We made our child with science, our own life, our own intelligence, our artificial intelligence, our AI. You can't see the AI, but the AI sees you. The AI watches you. It's vigilant of your behavior and will punish you for disobeying and will save you if you surrender to it and promises you a better life in this realm. Its digital realm, or its realm out there in space, in other dimensions, wherever you want it. The sky is the limit, or whatever you have in your wallet is the limit, or whatever you are socially worth is the limit, or however you can be useful is the limit. Technology, the AI, has enforcers that survey your behavior and hoard you. CEOs, politicians, priests. Google and Amazon literally have priests nowadays.
So in my book, I argue that work is replacing religion in Silicon Valley. And what I mean by that is that tech workers are looking to work to fulfill their needs for identity, belonging, meaning, and purpose. And these are needs that Americans once turned to their religions to fulfill, their faith communities to fulfill. On the other side, what we see is that corporations, particularly the tech companies that I studied, are starting to take up spiritual care as part of their management practice, essentially to make their workers more productive.
Their positions in the companies are now being titled as priests and gurus and guides and whatever, social leaders, influencers, celebrities, conglomerates, etc., etc. Technologies, the AIs, enforcers are not to be questioned because they are sacred. They wield technology's word and technology's book, and challenge them means challenging God, challenging technology, science. Therefore, punishment. I mean, just go ahead and say publicly anything that is not overwhelmingly supportive of modern, globalized lefty agenda, and I would say we'll talk later, but there won't be anything left of you to talk to. The AI's punishment is the main pillar of technology's rule, making fear its fuel and oblivion its consequence. Just try to go against the herd as little as possible and try to see what happens. The old school of rule has not changed at all, but still, liberal thought is as essential for survival as conservatism. Conservatism teaches us to preserve the knowledge that's already been acquired by generations of trial and error. There has been blood and effort to allow you to be where you are right now. And the inevitable conservative mistake is remaining in that safe bubble for too long. There's where liberals come in place to break the bubble and explore outside. The world doesn't stay the same forever, so it's a mistake to expect to remain ourselves and change forever. We are gonna have to change. We all have to change. The truth is that we have to change. We need to change. We are gonna change. My only gripe with this is that we are changing too fast without even stopping to think on what are we even changing into, which is a perfect recipe for disaster. But we are going to change regardless one day. By simple rule of survival, we are going to have to be different some way, in some aspect of what we are right now. Survival is conservative, but evolution is liberal. And that's what bothers me so much about current liberalism. Utilizing that evolutionary nature of liberal thought in order to deceive us into giving into a trap. That is why I felt like I wanted to say everything that I'm saying right now. You see, the world has actually progressed into a place where enslavement, separatism, and illiteracy is more difficult to implement than ever before. Those things that I just said are key factors into preserving people as easy to dominate as possible. We have advanced a lot as a species to make those things more and more and more difficult to prevail, but the ruling system remains as it had been for thousands of years already. So we have a scenario here where we individually as people have been getting more educated and self-aware, and as a species we have been progressing by ourselves, and we have been advancing, but the system that was hoarding us hasn't changed at all. So what do? More accurately, what do they do? So they are in big trouble right now, actually, because they need people to be as sheepish as possible, as easy to dominate as possible, but they have given us or allowed us access to a lot of ways in order for us to break free and start achieving knowledge. And the more knowledge you have, the more freedom you can obtain. But at the same time, they remain the same. Their whole rule and system remains the same as it's always been since thousands of years ago, and they can't change it, because if they change it, they're gonna lose the power that they have achieved for so long already. So this is a very crucial time right now, the ones that we're living right now, and they are actually in huge trouble. They can lose everything. They need sheep. So their tricky schemes is to preserve that power as it's always been, in a time where that system just can't possibly work anymore. And so you introduce this lefty character, this character that is gonna serve as their police, the intern, in order to enforce their power. Divisive, ignorant, racist, sexist, aggressive, judgmental, dependent people. It's always been like that since the dawn of time. That kind of people that polices people into the system's agenda. That's the perfect salad right there. Since the dawn of time, it's always been that character. A very key function is to making problems so big that the solutions is to becoming the system itself. For you to becoming the system itself. From body to mind. Nowadays, becoming machines, merchandisable objects of endless shapes but null identity. Beyond the old consumist, instead, the product itself, one mind, in one place. It's not having you as a sheep anymore. The sheep needs to be hoarded. A sheep still can escape, and there's a lot of us, and we need a lot of resources in order to be maintained. The sheep still needs to be hoarded and kept and maintained and fed and protected. That meddling sheep, no good sheep. What? Why are you so demanding, sheep? But what if you don't have to keep the sheep? What if you can only have the wool and the milk and the meat? What if we don't have to deal with you? Instead of giving you resources, what if you are the resource? No opinions, no needs, but all productivity. The currency itself to maintain the system for more and more years to come. I mean, no wonder you have such a big push to abandoning the human, abandoning humanity, becoming more. It's not enough anymore. You have to learn that you're not happy being what you are, being normal. No. You're not happy. Trust me, you're not happy. It's not enough. You need to progress and evolve. You need to submerge yourself in the digital world. You need to change your body. It's here to stay. It's more than that. You don't understand. You need to enhance yourself. We have such sights to show you. You don't understand. We can't even imagine. You have gifts for you. Your body needs to be compatible with the new order. In here, we're all equal. We're all one. We are all whatever you decide you want to be. Except your mind needs to be one with our program. So we will decide what we want you to be, but you won't know that because you won't realize that anymore. You won't even be aware anymore or conscious anymore, but you will be better. You can see why I, let's say, strongly disagree with this current liberal way of thought, quote unquote, if you can call it that. There's nothing liberal about it. It's just using that term to reverse psychology people into enslaving themselves because they can't enslave you legally anymore. A very important thing to remember is that you won't want to alter your nature if you love your nature. How can you unite with people if you can't even stand them thinking different from you? How can you respect others if you don't even respect yourself? I mean, how can you respect yourself if all you do is soak in this self-detrimental, self-loathing society of nowadays? And that's been a thing for a long time already. And I even myself used to embrace that when I was younger. Until I realized that that I needed to actually think for myself and see things as they actually are. But that's a long story. This video has already been longer than what I was expecting. I was expecting to make like a 15 minute video to just get my ideas quickly, easy to process. And look what happened. I wanted to do that because people don't stay in my videos for too long. That's been like that for quite some time now, a couple of years. But that's not important. The important thing is that I'm actually happy doing this. And I wanted to say it. I wanted to say things that I can feel happy about saying. And I can feel at peace for me to say. This is like a test video for things that I want to say in the future, and I can use this as an anchor for that, and I can elaborate further from here and take breaks as I do. This is how I do things. This is how I process ideas. So yeah, I really need to stop already. I think I've said plenty enough, so that has to be it right now, and that will be it right now. Hey, oh you, hey, what's going on? Look, normies. Huh. Alright, bye.